Thank you for clicking onto this reaction. I hope you're looking forward to it just as much as I am. If you haven't already, head over to the content creators page. That link is in the description box down below. If you haven't already and you're enjoying our content, you know what you need to do. You need to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, but we're going to jump straight into this one. The international gangs. Who stole the gnomes? Count Dankula. Let's go.
Gnomes. Those mystical little creatures that proudly wander through many ancient forests of the old world are a staple of Renaissance mythology. These whimsical little creatures are filled with joy and adventure, and throughout history have provided us with a profound gnome-fluence on our society, from Snow White to Dungeons and Dragons, even to people using them as magical guardians of their luscious gardens. You may be thinking, now, Dankula, why are you discussing gnomes all of a sudden? Well, after some heavy research into this subject, I have in fact become gnome-pilled. Jokes aside, today's topic will not be about gnomes, the mythical creatures, but literal garden gnomes.
Okay.
I'm sure you're all familiar with these little guys. You've probably seen them in an old neighbour's garden, or maybe even your own gran or your own mother has gone a little bit over the top with littering their gardens with these porcelain midgets. But have you ever heard of reports of an unspoken force in the night that reclaims these little forest warriors from abusive gardens and then returns them to their natural habitat?
What? Wait.
Stealing gnomes from gardens.
Yeah.
It sounds...
Someone's basically going around stealing them because they're encaptured in these gardens and then putting them in fields so that they can be free.
I thought he was nicking them, repairing them and putting them back.
No.
Oh.
These porcelain midgets. But have you ever heard of reports of an unspoken force in the night that reclaims these little forest warriors from abusive gardens and then returns them to their natural habitat?
Oh, right.
Stealing gnomes from gardens.
Right, yeah.
It sounds like something that any random group of drunk students would do on their way home from the pub.
Yeah.
But one group decided to take this often harmless prank a little bit too far, to the point where it resulted in a full police investigation and arrests.
Wait. So it was some kind of like Reddit meme that people would like. So it was like one of those trends where people would go around and doing it, right? Yeah, and then it's just picked up where it's now become like a mass problem of people. That's so funny.
If we were ever walking home on a piss night, we'd definitely nick a traffic cone. That's normal.
Oh yeah, traffic cones all the time.
If we saw shit like that,
not in someone's garden. No.
I mean, I tell you what, me and Josh, right? We got drunk one night and there were these brand new builds at the front of the seafront. Yeah. No one was living in them, but there was rattan garden furniture at the front. So about 4:30 in the morning, me and Josh sloshed off our faces, walked into the front lawn, sat on the table, rolled a joint and just smoked it.
Oh yeah, that's calm.
But we made sure no one was living there.
Yeah,
That's calm. We sat on the garden. It was like,
I thought you were going to say you just took it all.
Fucking taking rattan furniture down the fucking road.
That's what I'm expecting from you and Josh. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm expecting from you and Josh.
Fuck you. I mean,
if I was there and sloshed, I'd be helping you. I'd be going, right, boys, the plan is, here we go.
Right, put everything on the sofa and then we carry the lot. Imagine the police chase down the fucking hill running down with a rattan set.
Oh, fucking hell.
Who the fuck robs garden gnomes, bro?
Oh, who robs garden gnomes? Drunk people like
the Gnome Liberation Front.
Shut up, no. I can't believe it. I want a patch. That's just the Gnome Liberation Front on it.
Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. But before we get started, this video is brought to you by Display. With millions of officially licensed artworks to choose from, including your favourite movies, games and sports, Display has a quality metal print for everyone, with many franchises to get you started, you can check out some of my other favourite displays by clicking only be supported.
Oh.
Off of 1 to 2 disc plates or 33% off of 3 or more disc plates. You will also be helping the planet by planting a tree for every disc plate that you buy. This offer is only available for a limited time, so make sure you get in there fast. The subject of gnome hunting is quite a broad idea now, with a variety of groups emerging from the popularity of older established groups, causing a crime wave of so-called gnome theft. For the most part, these neo-gnome vigilante groups can come under the umbrella term of the Garden Gnome Liberation Fronts, or GGLF. Now, when you hear the acronym GGLF or GLF, your automatic thought might be of some sort of communist rebel group hidden in the jungles of Nam. Instead, these gnome hunters hide in plain sight. But once the moon has risen, all bets are off and your gnomes are at risk. Or are they? This is such a stupid video. We will get into the ethics of the GLF later, but for starters, we need to look into how all of this actually started. And it all began in France in 1996, which is when we hear of the first organised gnome liberation groups, which were...
That was the year you were born.
1996.
Yeah, I was born 1995.
Oh, I'm a legendary power.
This group has been alive just as long as us.
Wow.
The GGLF. GGLF.
Garden Gnome Liberation Front.
Yeah, the GGLF has been alive. If anyone
knows where to get Velcro patches with that on, hit me up in the comments, because I'd like to buy one, especially if he's got an AK on it. That's sick.
Named the Front de Liberation des Nains de Jardin, which means the Garden Gnome Liberation Front when you don't have a mouthful of fucking frogs. Now, there aren't many details of the how or the why the group got started, or any other details at all really, because to think of them as a group might be the wrong idea. A more accurate description would be a movement, a cause that everyone should join in on to liberate gnomes across the world. And before we get started, quick disclaimer, I do not condone any theft of gnome-like entities kept in gardens or in households. Now, there are some theories out there saying that this group may have started out as just a national prank, you know, a viral thing that teenagers got into before the internet was really a thing. Just a funny prank to pull on the sort of people who own garden gnomes, which have been said to be a classic symbol of the middle class. Knowing the French and their love of politics, it could be true. I actually totally believe that. It was just a funny prank to pull on the middle class as a potential middle finger to the upper classes. Or it could have just been something that was really funny to do in the moment. Although, I think it does go a lot deeper than just pranks. But let's have a look at the first actions of the French GLF. Throughout 1996 to 1997, there would be hundreds of gnomes stolen. There are some rough ballpark estimates from anywhere to 100 to over 200 gnomes that were stolen. This raised a lot of commotion in the French gardening community, with enough complaints being put in that the police got involved. 1 or 2 garden gnomes being stolen, the cops would just hang up the phone. But hundreds of them being stolen all over the place, well, the cops couldn't really ignore that. And sadly, in 1997, the supposed ringleader of the GLF would be apprehended, along with 2 others in Bethune, northern France. We aren't sure who specifically they were, but just like Bundy, they were caught with their pants down, with plenty of suspicious evidence in their car. This included, for starters, several stolen garden gnomes, along with GLF pamphlets, so I'm sure that was pretty difficult to explain away. Also, yes, they have fucking pamphlets. The 3 GLF members would subsequently be given a suspended sentence of a few months each, along with a bunch of fines for the variety of gnomes that had been stolen in the local area. This disrupted the GLF only temporarily, and like any other vigilante group, they had to be a lot more low-key moving forward with their gnome liberation cause, just in case they were caught again. But this was not the only issue. Apparently, these arrests had actually caused a divide in the gnome liberation community. Never in my life did I think I was going to be talking about the inner politics of a gnome liberation group, but hey-ho, here we are. This split the group into two main sections. The main liberation front, which was still focused on their previous methods, and the much more pacifist garden gnome emancipation movement. There's even less info on the garden gnome emancipation movement, but from what I can tell, they were a lot more about spreading the good word of the gnome and convincing people to be a lot more friendly to their garden ornaments, all within the confines of the law. Although it may seem the Gnome Liberation Group was short-lived, no pun intended, this was only the beginning for the new gnome reality brought upon the world, as obviously a police investigation into a guerrilla group that steals garden gnomes was a massive hit with the media. So, of course, the news would spread throughout Europe pretty quickly, but it would even go as far as the United States and Australia. Why is this important? Well, for obvious reasons, it spreads the good word of the gnome. Now, as with most funny bants, whenever other people hear about it, they might think to themselves, that's quite funny, we should do that. Yeah. So the media reporting would set off a domino effect of people wanting to join the new frontier of lawn warfare, attacking gardens across the Western world. Side note, I'm sure there are some gnomers in Asia, but none that were notable enough. Then again, I think they just have bonsai trees and koi ponds in their gardens instead. Maybe even little ninja gnomes. But this noble cause wouldn't be without sacrifice. Only a year later, the Great Gnome Suicide would hit headlines across France after several stolen gnomes were found hanging from a bridge in Brie in eastern France. This was a true tragedy to the gnome.
They were hung.
In their fucking mind takes the time.
This is so funny.
Hang the gnomes up.
The French responsible for Napoleon and the GLF. It's two great achievements.
I want to go hang a gnome from a bridge.
Community, and a note was left nearby. It reads, "When you read these few words, we will no longer be part of your selfish world, where we serve merely as pretty decoration." It's truly over for gnomes. This was a pretty clear message to all gnome owners. Just like the plantation owners of the 1800s, the gnomes are kept against their will, held in a botanical state of depression, forced to serve their middle-aged masters.
Oh, would you have fell for this? How deep would you have gone? Would you have done it for a joke, or would you have been a GLFer?
I'll be le Capitan.
What was that?
I would be le Capitan of the GGLF. Oui, monsieur. My God, that's brilliant. That is the only time I wish I was French. God, what a time. Let's go hang some gnomes off a bridge.
You gotta steal them first, Jack.
1800s, the gnomes are kept against their will, held in a botanical state of depression, forced to serve their middle-aged masters.
Do you think these people just see these gnomes and think they're alive dancing around in the gardens?
I think they must have been tripping bollocks when they first saw them, and then after that they've always imagined them being the same. I fully believe that whoever first started this was pinging.
It was like, these gnomes are real!
Like someone set him up as a joke and they thought he would just fall asleep on a bench and they'd find him in the morning, right? And he's pinging the whole night and he's seen this garden gnome in some woman's garden patch.
Just everywhere he goes.
He's just seeing little people.
Yeah.
And he's losing his mind and he's like, and they're like, help me, right? And he's just got to go get them. He's got to go rescue them. He just started robbing bare gnomes. And then his mates are like, why have you got a gnome? And he's like, we've got to save them.
We just got to save them.
We've got to save the gnomes. All right. And they just went along and saved
well,
them.
like, they all had to be pinging as well. And then from that moment, it was all a laugh.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
But now the gnomes will rise. This gnome movement, like I mentioned before, would spread, with new groups popping up all over the place, uniting for the freedom of gnomes across the world. For example, another large group similar to the French GLF would pop up close by in Italy. The Movimento Autonomo per la Liberazione della Anima di Giardino, fucking Babidi Boobidi Spaghetti Ferrari, or in English, the Autonomous Movement for the Liberation of Garden Souls. Although their philosophy behind gnome freedom was a little bit different. You see, the French GLF, along with the majority of other gnome liberation groups, would reallocate the gnome to the forest, back to their homes. Whereas the Italian gnome liberators believed that the gnome's soul must be released, seeing the garden gnome itself as just a clay prison for the gnome's spirit, which must be broken to set the spirit free.
Is that a real nut?
They don't think that it's alive. They think a soul is captured into the gnome, and that's what's defending the garden.
He's 100% pinging when he's heard that.
It's obviously someone else's opinion of it, and that's their. It's like with Christianity. The first story of Christianity.
The gnome was sitting outside the bedroom window, and when he went up to it and he was pinging, he heard the French lady and her husband getting on. Right, and he thought, he was like, oh, do you want me to break you free? And the woman's like, wee, wee. Right? So then he's trying to rescue the gnome, get the soul. It's like the condom advert in France. Ma, can I put the cat in the tumble dryer? And she's just in the bedroom, wee, wee. And he's like, always wear protection.
Always wear protection.
Stole gnomes and smashed them.
Always wear protection.
So, yeah, there are more moral gymnastics when it comes to the various groups, but all of them follow the key idea of freeing the gnomes. They just have different methods. The GLF wouldn't stop there after the mass gnomicide. A few years later, in the year 2000, one of their more highlighted cases would be the theft of 20 gnomes from the Paris chic Bagatelle Gardens. Soon after the gnome hunt on the fancy Paris gardens, the group would claim responsibility for the theft, saying that if the exhibit wasn't closed and the gnomes weren't set free, they would strike again. Sadly, the exhibit owners declined to close down or release any of the enslaved gnomes. Also, claiming responsibility for the attack like they're fucking Al-Qaeda. By the year 2000, it was estimated that over 6,000 gnomes had been relocated to local forests and rivers all over France, with crops of them being discovered over time, with various signs showing their freedom from the garden jails they were once restricted to.
Oh my God.
Lots of these gnomes can be pictured in various newspaper clippings across the French media, but of course, thankfully, not all of these gnomes were recaptured and sent back to their slave masters. Now, sadly, it's quite hard to keep track of all of these gnome activities, but these groups would start popping up everywhere. Even in the UK, with this, I believe, very, very drunk gentleman having a failed attempt at rescuing a captured gnome. But it doesn't stop there, as across the pond in Canada, there have been various gnome hunters on the prowl, again, returning the gnomes to their rightful place in the forests. Although some seem to have been intercepted while in transit, as seen in this big find by the Canadian police.
The Ontario Hydro had reported their yard had been broken into and all the gnomes had been found in the trucks in various locations throughout the hydro yard. The investigation is still ongoing, but it brings up a couple of concerns. And first and foremost, of course, is the break-in over at the hydro yard. Secondly, however, would be the number of unreported thefts that we have within the town of Huntsville here of all the gnomes. We've only had 3 reports, and yet there's a lot of gnomes, as you can see here, that are looking to go back home.
And the examples don't stop there, as there was another case in the United States which was directly linked to the GLF. with them also leaving a note behind.
Around here, the Smiths
Claim
are known for their
responsibility.
love of magic.
My husband's a very magical person, and he loves to collect things that have kind of magical qualities, so we have a lot in the house as well.
But even Christine is stumped
Many a snowstorm endured,
by this latest disappearing act.
but not a thought you gave while guarding your yard. It's funny, but also a little, it's a little eerie to think
Yeah, I
people
see-
just
I
come
see
in
where
and
you're
take
coming
something
from.
out of your yard.
On Saturday, they received an email. They were the latest gnome napping victims. The Gnome Liberation Front, it said, was behind the whole heist.
Did someone write us today and said, Gnomeland security? That's a good one.
Thankfully, the slave driver Smiths won't be seeing that.
Gnomeland
Gnomeland
security. Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
It's an American
They
branch. It's the
emailed her.
American branch. Yeah.
They emailed her.
We have your goods. Your gnomes have been liberated.
Fucking hell.
Contacting you from the gnome.
I can't. Just. What a genius idea.
Oh, because it was
But
so
how
it'd be so
stupid.
funny if they had their own secret service or something. Just knock on the doors.
Bro, could we please, right?
Get suits.
No, we get bare suits, but we buy from China like cheap.
Not
gnomes.
even because it's a skit for YouTube. We need to get a couple of suits, get some fake ID badges, right? Find a house with a bunch of gnomes, knock on the door, and just go, we're here from the GLF and we're the Secret Service.
We're the GGLF. Gnomeland Security.
Yeah, Gnomeland Security. And we've got to get it filmed.
What? We've got to take them away.
No, we don't actually take them away, but we see how far we can get. We see where it goes.
What? We just act like we're just having a look.
We'll
at
make
the...
a little script up, and we'll just go. We've had reporting. We've had reportings of like you keeping these gnomes under duress. This is a toxic household. You know, there's been reports of domestic abuse, like all sorts of shit. We got to come up with that skit. That'd be Jones.
Gnome for quite some time. Gnomeland security is on full alert. I'm sorry. Now, like we discussed earlier, although there may be a central semi-official Gnome Liberation Front, it's much more of a movement or an idea, rather than a official organisation with all kinds of people joining in and freeing gnomes across the globe. Where have we heard this before? Now, after a true deep dive into gnomes, watching various video essays and occasionally browsing X, I started to question the GLF. You know, the gnome question is a valid thing to ask. Are gnomes real? Is all of this just a prank disguised by folklore? I'm not sure. Because I've swallowed the gnome pill, and I believe that all of these relocated gnomes are making their way to Gnomoboria.
What's his name?
Sadly, I can't fill the entire video with gnome-related memes as much as I would love to, I assure you, but you get the point. Gnomes are real, and the only way to free them is to reclaim them from their masters and return them to the forest. Jokes aside, please do not steal people's gnomes. Right, I do not in any way condone the theft of private property. But as for the GLF and people stealing gnomes to free them back into the forest, it's obviously just a giant meme that a bunch of kids around the world are doing for a bit of fun.
Massive
We've all
meme.
been in a situation where you and your friends are coming back home from the pub, you're all really drunk, and then your friend starts falling over some random person's fence to get in their garden because they saw a garden gnome and that garden gnome was coming home with them. It's mostly just a bunch of harmless...
And by the next morning, anyway, you realise what you've done, and you're like, oh shit.
fuck.
The next night, you're going to drop it off back in their garden.
If you remember, yeah.
If you remember where they live, you drop
Yeah.
it off back in the garden, leave a note or something like, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I was
drunk. Oh, that's so funny. Definitely us British.
Oh god.
fun. And let's face it, it is a little bit funny. And anyone who disagrees with that is a gnome believer.
What a great way to finish an episode. If you haven't already, head over to his page. That link's in the description box down below. Oh yeah, another good fucking reaction.